Good afternoon, everybody. Hey, thanks for joining me this evening. This is Andrew Alvarez. I'm the Latino conservative, in case you haven't figured that out by now. I come to you every week from where I am, and I've just started this new live session that I've got here. I think it's pretty cool. I've got some cool software, a cool app that I get to use to do live without having to carry 500 cameras, big mixers, and whatnot. I get to do this straight from my app, and it's a pretty cool little thing here. But to get on topic, what we got a pretty big show, a pretty decent amount of content for y'all today. Got some election stuff already happening. Go figure. And I called it already, but we've got a few things to talk about. Before we get into all of that, just to let you know what other platforms I'm on, specifically Twitter. I'm trying to build up my following on Twitter because, Twitter is where it is. I haven't really spent much time on Twitter. Go follow me at Andrew Alvarez TX. Follow me there, and what that'll do is the more followers I have there, the bigger your voice will get out there. Because as you know, you drop me comments, I will do what I can with that. Whether that means me going out, seeking the help of state legislators, I will do that for you. Or if that means that I have got to go out and reach the federal government, senators, Congress representatives, those people, I will do that too. So follow me at Andrew Alvarez TX, and I will use that to build up my following. Maybe eventually get one of those little blue check marks. But let's go move into the good stuff right away. Senator Manchin. He's a Democratic senator. He is voting against some policies that the Democratic Party had put out there. So just so you know, this has to do with the election rules, the election reform, freedom of election acts that they have out there. The Democratic Party really wants to mandate that we let everybody vote, even if they're not citizens, that you do not have to have an ID to vote. So let's talk about that real quick. Not having an ID to vote. But I go to get me some beer, and I have to have my ID. Well, not me anymore. I've already reached that threshold, but you get the point. To drive a car, you have to have an ID. To buy cigarettes, you have to have an ID. If you go and try to go to a baseball game, you have to have your ID. And this is something else that MLB, they pulled their All-Star game out of Atlanta, Georgia over this voting rights. Georgia passed regulations that you have to have an ID to vote, as they should. They should do that. MLB pulled out because of that, saying it was racist and all of that good stuff that the left will have you believe. So Manchin is a Democratic senator. He is going to vote against that. Watch this.
Democratic Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia will vote against one of his party's proposed federal voting rights bills.
I think there's a lot of great things I agree in that piece of legislation, but there's an awful lot of things that basically don't pertain directly to voting.
So just to put a button on this, you will vote against that bill if it gets to the Senate floor.
I think it's the wrong piece of legislation to bring our country together and unite our country, and I'm not supporting that because I think it would divide us further.
So right on point there. Right on point. He's saying that legislation like this will divide us further. And he's right, because you get people out there that don't have the right to vote. They're voting for your president. They're voting for your representatives. They are devaluing your vote. I'm in El Paso right now. I'm looking out the window of this hotel. I see Mexico. Why does Mexico? One of the biggest cities in Mexico. Millions of people are coming over. Exaggeration, yeah, I know. But lots of people are coming over. They all of a sudden have the same exact rights that you do. It's inflating the vote. It works the same way inflation of money works. Those things do work hand in hand, but he is going to vote against that. What do y'all think about that? Drop me a comment. Let me know what y'all think about that. Also, what I would like to do here. Let me see if I get this right. Mind you, remember, I'm still learning this. One of the best ways you can help this show out. It's free. Totally charged. Y'all know I ask for money every now and then. You know, just like I'm asked right there. If you want to donate to me, you can send me some mad money on the Cash App. $ Latino Conservative. But the best way you can help support this show, hitting that like button, subscribe, sign up for notifications. I try to do this once a week. My travel schedule sometimes prohibits me. You know, I do work a full time. I do this totally free, by the way. I don't charge for this. That's why I ask for your support. But the best way you can do is you hit that subscribe button. Share. If you share this, that will help out tremendously, because that also, you know, does the whole algorithm thing, and it lets people know that I'm here. Give me a second here. It lets people know that I'm here and that I'm around, that you're around, you know, all that good stuff. So let's move on. Let's talk about inflation a little bit. I see this meme flying around, complaining about the inability to fill empty positions in your company because people make more on unemployment is an interesting way to admit that your company pays poverty wages. No, it's not how it works. That is absolutely not how it works. See, unemployment is based off of your salary. So people making more on unemployment because they had the extra benefits from being unemployed during a global pandemic, quote unquote, I'm using the air quotes. If you want to make more than the minimum wage, and that's what this is about, if you want to make more than minimum wage, get a more than minimum wage job. You know, I told my son this just this past week because he applied for a job and he got interviewed, his first job interview ever, $10 an hour. Not minimum wage. Minimum wage is what, $7.25 now? $10 an hour. He got an interview. He is only 15. He turns 16 next month. He'll be making more than some adults are who refuse to accept that they have control of their own finances. It's always somebody else's fault with these people. So they called him back. Now, because of some reasons, he's not quite 16 yet. He can't start, but they want him to start because he shows work ethic, which is a big thing. How many times do you have people that just call in for no reason? They call in for no reason, but they expect to keep their job. Work ethic, that's what that's called. Get some. Job skill training. I can't tell you how many times I've been at a job where somebody comes in, expects that just because they've got a piece of paper right here and it has their name, graduated from this college, that they deserve the higher paying job than I do. You know, I've been in my business, my industry, almost 15 years now. You just spent 4 years learning about another industry. Probably, and most likely, totally unrelated to the job field that you're trying to seek a job in, but you expect to get $100,000 an hour, a year on that job. No, it doesn't work that way. You got to put in the work. You've got to put in your dues, pay your dues, work the trenches. I started my job as a grunt. I was out there on blacktop pavement, getting in and out of cars in the middle of the Texas heat. I can't tell you how much weight I lost during that job, but I will say this: before I got that job, I was 450 pounds. Now I'm kind of skin and bones, but it's not how it works. That's not how minimum wage works. Poverty wage, livable wage. Livable wage does not equal likable wage. I can live off of this wage. I can live off of substantially less than I make right now. Half. but I wouldn't like it. Doesn't mean that just because I am getting less money now that I'm worth less. Not worthless, but worth less. But what that means to me, what that means to a lot of people, is you've got a lot of people not working. You've got jobs. Everywhere I have gone recently, I have seen signs, lots of signs, help wanted signs, people looking for workers. But they're too busy trying to justify $15 an hour as a minimum wage. My first job ever in 1996, I made $10 an hour. I've never made a minimum wage. You know why? Because I worked. I went to work every day. I went to work at a job that was a decent job. Granted, I understand. I totally 100% get there are some employers out there that pay their employees scraps for the job they do. My dad worked for one of those. He worked for a company called Texas Concrete that hired traditionally a lot of people that weren't necessarily legal, paid them under the table, whatnot. Now, my dad is perfectly legal, and many other guys that work there are perfectly legal, but they paid scraps. My dad worked there over 30 years. 40 years, I think, is what he hit. He was making in the teens, driving a big truck. Not one of these cargo trucks that you see, these normal 18-wheelers. No. The trucks that he drove put those to shame. These big old 100-foot long concrete beams is what he would haul. And he was making in the teens. I get it. There's those companies out there. They suck. That company has since been bought and sold multiple times. They have gone through multiple groups of employees, and they are actually now on the verge of going under, which is what I consider kind of a good thing. Let's weed out these bad companies, but let's not do it by forcing McDonald's to pay you $15 an hour. Forcing Walmart to pay you $15 an hour. What's going to happen is they are going to compensate. They will survive. Big companies will survive that. You want proof? Go to Walmart. Yeah, go sometimes late at night. You might see a robot sweeping the floors. And I'm not talking about some little bitty Roomba type robot. No, this is a big, looks like it was at least a $10,000 machine. I don't know, probably more, but it was self-guiding, went through all of the aisles by itself. That's one. Walmart will survive. If they pay that $10,000, that can cover the job of one person at least for 4 months. Excuse me. But that one robot can potentially replace 4 people, 4 shifts: morning, afternoon, night, and overnight. Sorry, I've been talking all day, so my throat's a little itchy right now, but that's just one thing. When's the last time you've gone to Walmart and there's been more than 2 or 3 cashiers at the cash register station? Oh, they have one person that monitors 10 self-checkouts, but the actual checkout, you'll be lucky sometimes if you have the person at the tobacco aisle and then one other one at the speedy checkout. You know, who knows? But big companies will survive that. They will survive a $15 an hour minimum wage. Who won't survive? And we're already feeling it right now. Small businesses. They'll go under. The restaurant industry will be changed dramatically. What do you think is happening because of the chip shortages? You can't go out and buy a new vehicle right now because of things called little computer chips that are being shorted. Why? Because there's not enough people to make them. Because people are staying home instead of going to work. The dealership that I'm at right now, not only do they have a vehicle shortage, but some essential hardware that we need to get the job done from a big manufacturer of said computer hardware is affected. this setup because of that. Because people don't want to go to work. That's what it is. I'm addicted to these things. I know they're horrible, even though they say Coke Zero. No, this isn't a sponsored ad at all, but Coke Zero. If you want to hook a brother up, I know I said I wasn't going to drink your drink because of some things you said, some training you put out there, but I just there it is. Okay, so keeping up with that. Capitalism. Yes, that's, every job has the right to set their own wages. They do. It's called capitalism. I think if we were to get back to work, we would see an increase in the value of the dollar. Right now, the value of the dollar sucks because we are printing out money, just paper, just printing it out. But at the end of the day, really and truly, we're not just printing it out. Not only just that, we're also adding the ones and zeros because most of our money nowadays isn't paper. Most of it is actual digital. I'm not talking about Doge. I'm not talking about crypto or anything like that. I'm talking about most of the money that we get is in digital format. So all we got to say is, hey, we've got X amount of money now. Let me go have a programmer type those ones and zeros into the computer. Now we have more money. Now our dollar is being devalued more, just like the immigrants coming over who want to vote, who don't have a right to vote, being devalued. If we go to work, make these products, sell these products, purchase these products from Americans, whatever we do, we will make more money. And our money will be worth more. That's the conservative way. So another thing I would like to talk about on the conservative aisle, whatever you want to call it. Let's see. Let me find it real quick. I've got to find it. Give me just a second. But it has to do with Governor Abbott. For those of you who don't know, Texas's governor is named Governor Abbott, Greg Abbott. And he likes to make executive orders. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not above executive orders at all. I think some are necessary, but how many is too many? Greg Abbott basically made an executive order saying vaccine passports are prohibited in Texas. Now look at that for a little bit. Vaccine passports are prohibited in Texas. Now for me, that affects me directly. I made a post. What was it, Saturday? I had a cigar. I like cigars, in case you didn't know. But I made a post that I was working on an app. And I worked hard on that app. All of my free time outside of work was pretty much working on that app. Spent some money on it. Sent it to Google. And I get this executive order that's just a slap in the face. You see, there's companies and states, and basically the United States is opening up more and more every single day, every single week. More are opening up. The app that I created is called the Vaccine Passport. Simple features. You get your vaccine card, you take a picture of it, stores it on your phone securely. Now, if someone asks you for your vaccine passport, you can just show them, hey, look, here it is. Hold up your phone, show them. Because those cards, they sometimes get lost, torn. If you're carrying it around a lot, if it's separate from your wallet, this big old thing that I carry that I wish it was really money, but it's just stuff in there that I need to clean out. It'll get lost. It'll get ruined. It'll get torn. The vaccine passport app I had, I sent it to Google. Waiting on review, but that was Saturday. If it gets done, oh well, now. If they approve it, great. I have my first approved app on Google, but I know other states are going to follow suit. That's just the way it works. Other states are going to follow suit pretty soon. This awesome app that I was going to do, and the whole intention of it was to make some money. I don't do anything unless it has to do with worshiping my God. I don't do anything that doesn't either benefit me financially, me spiritually, or my kids. Those are the three things. That's what I work for. God first, kids right there second, and then finance. A lot of times finance and kids come hand in hand because me gaining financially also helps my kids, but that just got shut down. So in that, let's see. Allen West on potentially running for governor of Texas. In case you didn't know, Allen West, Lieutenant Colonel Allen West, was basically the top dog of the Republican Party in Texas. He spoke to Brian Kimmel about his decision to step down as chairman of the Republican Party of Texas. When asked for his plans running for governor of Texas, West said he will assess things, see what type of support is out there, and make an announcement within the month. I don't see a move that big. Being for nothing. I don't. If you're making a move that big, it is obviously you've got something in the works. Governor, senator race is coming up pretty soon too, right? I think the governor makes more than the senator, though, if it's about money. However, the strength of the Republican Party is still good in Texas, still better than the Democratic Party. But when you get someone out there like Beto O'Rourke, who, I'm in El Paso right now, someone out there like Beto O'Rourke, who is charming, who can raise money, is a real threat to the red seat of governor that is in Texas. He is a real threat. He is a real threat for senator. I mean, heck, Ted Cruz is up for re-election again, right? Y'all saw how close the race was last time. I would not doubt that he is waiting for Beto O'Rourke to make his call. It's just my thought on that. What do y'all think? Drop me a comment. I'm going to see, again, like I told y'all, I am using a new system here. I'm trying to see if there are any followers or anything like that coming up. But next on topic here, one thing that I do want to start integrating, I think I tried to a little bit, was Twitter. In case you haven't followed me by now, Andrew Alvarez TX is my Twitter handle. So I'm going to go into Twitter and just we'll look at a couple different, this is my personal Twitter, Dallas Cowboys, gotta love them, But let's find a topic here. Cowboys Nation, okay, yeah, still like them. Dallas police. Shooting on Forest Lane. DPD is asking for the public's help in identifying. See, that's another thing. I back the blue. I really do back the blue. Why are we still trying to defund them when we have cases like this come up? And I'm scrolling fast, I'm sorry. Cases like this come up. They're asking for help, but we have those cases coming up. Why? Let's go down just a little bit. President Biden. Hello, United Kingdom. He made his first trip as president outside of the United States to Europe Finally. What's going to happen? Now he's saying that he's going to tell everybody how strong we, the United States, and the G7 are. But this is the same guy that just cut America's pipeline, oil pipeline, the Keystone pipeline. Same guy that just did that. But he just allowed and gave access to Russia to build a pipeline. Took millions, possibly billions of dollars out of American pockets and gave them to Russia. So what else is out there? Let's see. I've also got Sheila Jackson Lee. She loves to type on here. 1-2. I commend the HISD police, the Houston Independent School District Police, for their quick response and ensuring our students were safe immediately following the shooting at North Forest High School. Again, another shooting. Now, here's the thing about this. You see all these shootings now going on. And you don't hear about the other ones that happen in between that time frame and what is like what they plan to do. You only see this increase whenever they are trying to push through gun legislation. Each and every time it happens. Each and every time it happens, they try to push through some gun legislation, and you see more shootings. Why didn't you see the 9 murders that happened in Chicago on a weekly basis, probably on a weekend basis, I should say? You don't hear about them until gun legislation is proposed. And she keeps on going there, and I'm just not going to read it because her voice, I hear her voice whenever I read her comments, read her statements and whatnot, and it just annoys me because she is a liar. Same woman that says she's held an AR-15 and it felt as heavy as 6 fully loaded boxes, like for moving, like quotes. Same person that said that. Now understand, bad things have happened by people with guns to people without guns. Hear that part again. By people with guns to people without guns. It's not the gun. It's the person with the gun. It's not the car that flips. It's the person driving the car, or driving the car that flips, or driving the car that hit the car that flips. It's the person. Okay, so let's go back to Twitter real quick. Let me find something else. Scroll down a little bit. Who else? Tucker Carlson. Let's see. No, I don't feel like listening to him right now either. What is this? Dr. Fauci. Oh, so let's talk Dr. Fauci a little bit. What's going on with this dude? This guy had emails leaked out. And I didn't even get to read all of those. But he had a lot of emails leaked out that one were CYA emails. You've got other emails in there that he was basically admitting to giving money to China to research the Wuhan virus, the Kung Flu, whatever you want to call it. And I'm trying to be a little cryptic here because, YouTube listens. And I like having a YouTube channel. This is kind of fun doing this, even though I've only got 528. So by the way, again, if you haven't already, do this. Like and share. Find the right button. There we go. Like, share, subscribe. Let people know that I'm out there. But this guy, Dr. Fauci, is basically practically guilty of launching the coronavirus, and I just said that word, not, funding it, I should say. Funding it and then hiding it. I talked to a guy a week ago that had that got infected with the coronavirus. And when you wake up or when your blood pressure's high, once you get to be my age, you have this every now and then. You get floaters in your eye. and they're squiggly. You see them after you wake up, rub your eyes a few times, and your blood pressure stabilizes sometimes if you got high blood. They go away. This guy said, he's used to it. He's another big guy, diabetic guy. Basically he was just like me, but 10 years older and a little bit fluffier. Not a lot, but a little bit. He told me that the floaters that he saw in his eyes were perfect X's. That's right, perfect X's. Now, people have already found out, and they've already admitted that this was being worked on by people. Why isn't Fauci in jail or in custody or being investigated? Because the Democratic Party doesn't want him to go away. They wanted Donald Trump to go away, so they created the fake dossier. They created Russia collusion. They created racism. They created all that stuff. But they don't want him to go away because he can't control people through the CDC. But Dr. Flip-Flop Fauci, wear a mask today, tomorrow you don't have to wear a mask. He's not being investigated at all. Just like Hunter Biden isn't being investigated at all. I'm going to take a drink to that. Anyway, what can I do though, right? What can I do? I can sit here and talk to this microphone, to that camera, to that camera. I can put little graphics up on the screen all day long. But eventually, it's going to come out. The Democratic Party is the party of action. Think about that. The Democratic Party is the party of action. If they don't like something, they go out and try to change it. That's right. The Republican Party is the complainers. The Democratic Party goes out to seek change. The Republican Party tries to keep change from happening. Not that either side is right or wrong. They're not. I think you need a little bit of both. So, for those of y'all who have followed me, know me, whatever you want to call, you know that I was running for Congress. And I will eventually again. I just had to build up a little bit of a base. I'm starting locally. But I'm coining a new term. My term. Nobody else has this term. I thought for a while. I really thought for a while that I wanted to disavow myself from the Republican Party. Is that the right word? But basically that I wanted to step away from the Republican Party because it just wasn't 100% me. And I've got to be 100% me. But my term. I like the Republican Party. I love the Republican Party. The values that Republicans have are far greater than the Democratic, than the left. You get the point. Progressive, conservative. Hey, how does that sound? Still Republican, but a progressive, conservative Republican. What does that mean? What does that mean? That means I am going to go out there and still seek ways to change what we have right now to better people, not just to keep everything as is, because everything as is doesn't work. The only thing that stays the same is everything changes, is what the song says. Progressive, conservative, Republican. Still conservative values, but being progressive in the way that those values are achieved. Hey guys, thanks again for joining me. My name is Andrew Alvarez. I'm the Latino Conservative. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Andrew Alvarez TX. And if you want to drop me a little love, you can go to my Cash App, $Latino Conservative. Thank you so much for watching.